Hello class, in this video we're going to go over how to apply volume formulas. This is actually a very simple formula that we've used, but they can be shown in two different ways. So we need to go over those formulas and we'll have you write them down in a moment. But before we start, I want you to write in your notebook your proper heading, which includes your full name first and last, the date, mathematics, your period number, and the assignment apply volume formulas into your notebook. Let's do that now. Now that we have that, when we're looking at the word volume, we're looking at the concept of a 3D image. Area and perimeter, they deal with the one view image. But a 3D image is anything that kind of has depth, like a book or a human being, a tissue box, an umbrella, a table, a chair. They all have depth. They have a depth, they have a height, and they have a length. And that is what basically volume is all about, is what can actually fit in that container that you're looking at. And to find that, you need to have the three dimensions of length and width and height. So let's go over the formulas. We've been using unit cubes, but again, this is for something that's easily able to count and view. But sometimes you can't do that. Like, for example, if I wanted to find the volume of the Empire State Building, I can't turn around and sit all those cubes because it's huge. But I can measure the length, the width, the height, and multiply them. So that's what our formulas are all about. So our first one, like I've been saying right now, is length times width times height. It is most commonly written as V equals L times W times H. Why is this? Well, V stands for volume, L comes from the first letter of length, W comes from the first letter of width, and H comes from the first letter of height. The only difference is the V is capitalized and the others are lowercase, okay? Because sometimes letters mean many different things. In this case, V is standing for volume, so that's why it's capitalized. Where the length, width, and height, that changes. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is doing volume equals the base of the area times the height, which is commonly written as a capital V equals capital B times H. And the reason why the B here is capitalized is because we're not looking for one measurement. We're actually looking for the area of the bottom of a figure. Okay, so in this case, the base area will be capitalized. The height will stay lowercase. So again, the capital B is the area of the base shape. And we say that because the base could be a square, it could be a triangle, it could be a rectangle, it could be an octagon or a hexagon, okay? Which we will work on eventually of figuring out the volume of those figures. However, we're just going to stay right now with the volumes of squares and rectangles, okay? So this is the volume for a square or a rectangle. I want you to pause the video and I want you to write this in your notebook. This is number one, this is number two. Please keep them separately because they're two different volume formulas. Pause the video now and write this in your notebooks. Now that we have this in our notebooks, we can continue. The reason why we need to know the second one is that sometimes they give us a word problem instead of a question, where they'll say, well, the base area is this and the height is this. What is the volume? So you need to be able to know this. If you have a drawn out picture, you would probably use this one. But not always will they give you what the length, width, and height is. They may just give you the area of the base times the height. That's why you need to know this one. So we're going to go over one problem where we're going to use both of these so that we can actually use them in a problem. But the second problem, we're only going to use this first one. All right. So here we have the first problem. It's a drawing of our picture. So we have two different formulas. You have our volume equals length times width times height. So for this one, I kind of know already some of these informations. I don't know what the volume is, but I know my length goes left to right, which is 2 feet. My width goes forwards and backwards. That's 4 feet. And then our height goes up and down. In this case, is 5 feet. Now, don't get worried if you do mess them up. I know a lot of people who do mess up length and width and need to change them. But remember our commutative property of multiplication, our associative property of multiplication? We can reorder this and regroup this any way we want because we're only multiplying. So now I can then do our multiplication. And if I multiply these, 2 times 4, that gives me 8. And then I copy the other one down. Then I could do 8 times 5 gives me 40. Now I could also do my other one, but I'm going to box this off so it's a little bit separate. Okay? Because I don't want my formulas to be confused. So I have here, the other one, I need to know what my base is. So my base is going to equal my length times my width. So my length was 2, my width is 4, which therefore gives me 8. So when I look at the volume formula, right, of capital B times 8, I know that the capital B is 8 times 5, which also gives me 40. And then I'm going to box this off so I know that this is the same. This goes all together for this question. Now I know that my answer is 40, but I'm not done. Whenever we give our answer in volume, we have to make sure that we put our units here. In this case, it was feet. Oh, and I forgot, before we actually do the multiplication, we need to make sure all units are the same. So like if this was in inches, I would have to convert either them all into inches or convert this into feet. They all need to be the same measurement before I multiply. And then I need to put it to the power of 3. Why? Because it's saying it's a 3D image. Now that I have 40 feet cubed or 40 feet to the third power, I know that that's my final answer. I want you to take a moment and I want you to write in your notebook our problem. So I want you to draw the figure the best you can and write all of our work along with our final answer into our notebooks. Now that I have that in there, let's look at another problem. Now in this problem, I'm only using the volume equals length times width times height. I'm more familiar with that. And I have where my length and my width is, and I need to find out what my height is. Since I know what the volume is, I know that I'm finding this missing piece. So what I always do is I like to rewrite my formula so I know what I'm looking at. So volume equals length times width times height. Now that I have that, I just fill in the information that I have. Well, I know my length is 7 feet. So I know that I'm equaling 7. My width, which is front and back, is 6. Oh, well, the first thing actually I should say, make sure they're all in the same. So this is feet, this is feet, this is feet, and this is feet. So that's why I could still do this. So my width, which goes front and back, is 6. So I put that in there. Now my height, which goes up and down, that's what we're missing here. So being that that's what I'm missing, I'm just going to leave my lovely H there. Is that all the information that I have for here? No, in fact, I don't. I know what the volume is too. The volume is 420 cubic feet. So I'm going to write that where the volume is. 420. Now I dropped my units right now, but I'll add them at the end. So let's merge what I can merge. On this side, I can't merge anything, so I'm going to rewrite the 420. Here, I could do 7 times 6, and 7 times 6 is 42. And then I recopy everything else. Now, I've showed you before our thought process. I need to find some number to multiply it by 42 to get 420. This one I know is pretty simple, but I chose these numbers for a reason. So I could show you your inverse operational thinking, because guessing and checking still also does. But remember our power of inverse operations. I can do the opposite. So since here I'm multiplying, I want to divide by 42. I want to get that h alone. But remember, what I do to one side, I need to do the other side. So I need to divide by 42 here. So when I do that, I have to rewrite this as 420 divided by 42. Now 42 divided by 42 is 1. 1 times h by identity property of multiplication. Anything times 1 is that anything. So we're going to keep the h. Now I could turn around and write in my house, so I could do the division. My divisor is 42, that goes outside. My dividend is 420, that goes inside. So I go, how many times does 42 go into 4? None. 4 minus 0 is 4. Then I bring down the next number, making it 42. How many times does 42 go into 42? And the answer is once. 1 times 42 is 42. So 42 minus 42 is 0. I am not done, because even though this is a 0, I still have another digit that I need to bring down. How many times does 42 go into 0? The answer is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So I'm left with what? The 10. So the box means 10. So I'm going to write that here, and I'm going to circle that as my final answer. Now, please make sure that we understand that the sides do not get cubed. Only the words. And if you didn't want to put it to the power of 3, you could have wrote CU before feet, or before whatever unit you're doing, because CU is the abbreviation for cubic, okay? Which means the same thing, and you would be absolutely right if you put that. So I want you to pause the video. I want you to write the question, show all of our work, and write our final answers in our notebooks. Now that we've done 2 problems, I want you to try on your own. So here you have the length 5, the width 8, and the height 9. They're all in centimeters, so you don't have to worry about that. In the second problem, you have the length 4, the width 7, and the height is 12. And all of them are in inches. So you need to find the volume for each one of them. So remember, it's length times width times height, and your answer is going to be cubic. So for this one, for number 1, your answer is going to be cubic centimeters, or centimeters to the 3rd power. In number 2, it's going to be cubic inches, or you could say inches to the 3rd power, or inches cubed. I want you to show all of your work. All of your work. You may use, though, any process that you want. Just don't forget the area of the base would be length times width. Okay? So you're going to be multiplying them anyway. If you need to look back at any questions, you may do so. You also may watch this video as many times as you need to. Just make sure that you show all of your work. If you do not understand what to do, I want you to do your best and put down what you are thinking. If you don't answer, you won't get credit. So please make sure that you write down your process of your thinking.